There's anxiety, but there's also a lot of hope.
Worry and anticipation is gripping the United States as Americans gear up for Election Day, in a contest both candidates have portrayed as an existential moment in the nation's history. After a heated battle between the two parties and an astonishing series of events over the last few months, including Democrat Kamala Harris replacing Joe Biden's spot in the presidential race, and two attempts on Republican Donald Trump's life, polls point to an electorate divided down the middle. More than 78 million voters have already cast their ballots, and there's millions more to come.
I think a lot of people in the country think their vote doesn't count.
But it does.
And yeah, it definitely does. And especially when you're here and it's focused on Pennsylvania, I think it really matters. And we can feel that firsthand, which is pretty amazing.
After Trump began the day in North Carolina, his supporters gathered for an Election Eve rally in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The state offers the biggest electoral college payout of the 7 battleground states expected to determine the outcome of the election.
Let's get this done. Thank you all.
Harris spent the entire day in Pennsylvania and chose Pittsburgh to hold a dueling event.
It puts us on the world stage the night before the election. The whole nation be watching Pennsylvania.
It feels like a lot. I feel this week has been stressful enough, and then when I realized about both rallies and how close our state is making it, it makes me pretty nervous.
Many voters told Reuters campaign ads are driving up their stress levels. This voter in West Ellis, Wisconsin, says he's over it.
I wait for it to be done with. It's a little overwhelming, so all the commercials and bad publicity just doesn't sit right with me, but it'll be done soon, so we'll see what happens.
Nonpartisan U.S. election analysts calculate Harris needs to win about 45 electoral votes. On top of the states, she is expected to win easily to capture the White House, while Trump would need about 51.
Displaced Palestinians gathered to receive essential supplies at an UNRWA school in Deir al-Balah, Gaza on Monday, as Israel formally notified the UN of its decision to cancel relations with the Palestinian Relief Agency. Those who rely on the service now concerned about the future of such life-saving humanitarian assistance in the Strip.
A very large percentage of Gaza's population holds refugee status. These people's education, healthcare, and all other services that were provided to them will be removed, and the Palestinians will be deprived of it. This is considered a death sentence for Palestinians inside the Gaza Strip.
UNRWA has been the main UN relief organisation for Palestinian refugees since 1967, providing education and aid services to millions in the occupied West Bank and Gaza. Since the start of the war in October last year, Israel has maintained UNRWA has been deeply infiltrated by Hamas, accusing some of its staff of taking part in the October 7 attack on Israel. The UN said in August that 9 UNRWA staff may have been involved in the Hamas attack and had been fired. Israel's legislation has alarmed some of its Western allies and the United Nations. They fear it will further worsen the already dire humanitarian situation in Gaza, where Israel has been fighting Hamas militants for over a year. The ban does not refer to operations in the Palestinian territories or elsewhere, but it will severely impact its ability to work in those areas. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said activity by other international organisations would be expanded.
World's first wooden satellite, built by scientists in Japan, headed into space Monday atop a SpaceX rocket launched from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. It'll stay in orbit for 6 months, 250 miles above the Earth, in an attempt to prove wood is a space-grade material. Sensors on board will measure how the material puts up with extreme temperatures in space, which range from -148 degrees to +212 degrees Fahrenheit every 45 minutes, as it orbits from darkness to sunlight. The LignoSat is a palm-sized satellite developed by Kyoto University and home builder Sumitomo Forestry. Scientists say they'll test wood's ability to reduce the impact of space radiation on semiconductors, a useful test for applications such as building data centers. A wooden satellite burns up in the Earth's atmosphere at the end of its life, with much less pollution too compared to metal ones. The Kyoto University research team has high hopes for the test, which is one step in the longer-term dream to build timber houses on the Moon and Mars.
The big strike at Boeing is over. West Coast factory workers voted Monday to accept a new offer on pay. That will see them get a 38% bump over 4 years. Union negotiators had recommended that members back the new offer. The deal ends the first strike in 16 years by the company's largest union and will be a relief for Boeing. Analysts estimate the stoppage was costing it around $100 million per day. It brought to a halt output of many jets, including its best-selling 737 MAX. Now it will take time to ramp up production and get cash flowing in again. Two sources told Reuters that 737 output was expected to languish in the single digits per month for some time. That's far short of the 38 per month that Boeing had targeted before the strike. The company has lurched from crisis to crisis this year, starting with a mid-air blowout on one of its MAX planes. That put Boeing's manufacturing quality under fresh scrutiny and led to production curbs imposed by regulators. Now new Chief Executive Kelly Ortberg will hope to reset relations with workers who had been angered by years of below-inflation wage increases. Analysts estimate the new deal will add some $1.1 billion to the firm's wage bill over the next 4 years, with a one-off ratification bonus for union members to add even more. Union negotiators call it a victory for workers.
Shares of Marriott International fell as much as 4% in Monday morning trading after it cut its annual profit forecast. Weak domestic travel in China has overshadowed strong group and international demand. It also posted an adjusted profit in the quarter that ended in September that missed expectations, and revenue that came in a tad light. Marriott says weak demand in China was due in part to severe weather and wealthier Chinese customers traveling abroad. Hotel operators have signaled demand remained flat in the U.S., despite U.S. consumer spending increasing at its fastest pace in 1.5 years. System-wide revenue per available room, or room revenue, an important metric in the hospitality industry, fell about 8% in Greater China in the third quarter. It was flat in the U.S. and Canada, while global leisure room revenue remained flat year over year as higher-end travelers boosted results across regions, including the U.S. Marriott said it had fewer rooms under construction in the third quarter versus the same period last year. One analyst said that made him less optimistic about the company's prospects.
The entrance door and windows on that side were blown off. Our apartment windows are looking out to the opposite side, so this time we were lucky because during the other attack, our windows were blown off.